Use a little
Sit
warmer.
right there. Yeah, haven't seen there. There. Okay, there you go. Now you said. Wait till I see.
I think we have just a couple more people out in the employee signing up and whatnot, so we'll give it just a couple more minutes before we get started. Before we get into the presentation, if we just real briefly go around and introduce ourselves, just tell me your name and one thing you would like someone to know about you. Okay, one thing. Now let's keep it clean, okay? Because this is being videotaped and also is it on? We're doing live. We're working on that. Oh, good. We're doing hangouts. So let's start here.
My name is Stephanie.
Stephanie, tell me your last name again.
Andrade.
Okay, common spelling. Stephanie. Okay, all right, we'll come back.
Okay.
Monty Walker, work with the Screamobile. Been out here for quite a while. Great company. I love that. Thank you, Monty. Roger Gomez, born and raised out here. That's unique. Okay.
Joel Cohen, I've been about 3 years from New Jersey, New York area, and represent Pasquini Coffee.
What's the name of it?
Pasquini Coffee Company.
Ooh, coffee. Love coffee. Had my cup this morning.
My name is John Anthony. I've been here 15 years from wonderful North Canada. I'm here to do every day. And I have a company called Good Foods Media, and I do what everything you did in kindergarten, except this time I go into glue and I work with electronic print.
Okay. Canada or North?
In Canada.
Okay, because I'm thinking, what's north of Canada?
Stephen Nagy. I'm with the Coachella Valley Horse Rescue. I've got flyers here for everyone. We had a wonderful event Saturday when the Mormon church group came and actually helped us clean out our rescue. We are all volunteers.
Wow.
He redesigned our new logo, and I've just got lots of information for anybody who has them. And we are members of the chamber, and we're hoping to join the new big chamber in July.
Fabulous. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Sharon Lee, and I just moved here from Seattle. I'm an interior designer and floral design instructor, and I teach floral design at the Wellness Center. And I also do residential and commercial floral design.
Great. And your name again is Sharon?
Sharon.
Sharon, welcome.
I'm Dennis Logay, from New Age with Keller Williams here in the Valley. And 35-year business up there. My computer people did all the Facebook ads and all that. Chance of a great career.
I just started my business. We do corporate events. Been a massage therapist for 16 years. That's what.
Beautiful. Thank you. Now, so massage therapy is your business?
Yes.
I got a spasm right back here last night. Seriously, I couldn't stand up. I laid down to take to stretch and got up and couldn't stand straight up and down. So yeah, we might see each other later.
That's for sure.
Healing hands.
My name is Christine Correa. I work at the Quinta Public Library as the programming volunteer coordinator right across the way over
It's a beautiful library. We have free programs and services, and I just want everybody to know that we have an awesome summer reading program coming up this summer. So we are looking for businesses to donate and support our summer reading program. And in return, we'll have a sponsor appreciation poster at the front of the library. So if you're interested, I'd love to talk with you. And getting a library card is free. So I just thought I'd have it.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
I'm Jane Valenzuela. I'm the reference librarian over at the Quinta Library, and yes, I love reading.
All right.
My name is Shannon Lawrence. I am the marketing events manager for the Career Builder Challenge, which is formerly DNAT, formerly Boston. So, and I also do consulting for writers, starting websites and podcasting on Facebook.
Great. All types of media we need nowadays. Let's change a little bit.
Hi, good morning. My name is Natalie Angrisani, and I represent a green technology company called Valara. So if you'd like to know what you're really breathing in your homes and offices, we've got the units to help you clear that air out. We also got some great units where you can do laundry with no soap, no hot water, and be very environmentally friendly.
That's interesting. Okay.
And those are clean.
Hi, I'm Joe Angrisani. Not only do I help her with hers, I'm also starting to represent ETV here in the valley.
Okay.
So as anybody know about the classic TV channel, either 14 or 21, depending on what your service is.
Is that KRET?
KRET,
Yep.
yeah. And I'm just starting out, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, neat demographic there. Welcome. Next.
Good morning. My name is Patty White. I've been here about 15 years full-time. I'm a biofeedback and nutrition therapist. And that's why I'm here.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay.
Get her. I'm Jeff's my business partner, and I'd rather be behind the camera, so. I'm filming.
Good morning, I'm Patty Janoff. I'm with Diversified Capital Funding. We're a mortgage lender and new to the Coachella Valley, but I started with them 26 years ago in San Jose. So we were founded in Silicon Valley and now we're funding Coachella Valley.
Great. Welcome.
Good morning, my name is Richard Beckley. After many years of snowboarding, I started living out here 3 years ago full time, and I'm an associate in leadership.
Great. Welcome.
My name is Joe Pearl. I provide graphic design assistance for companies that are too small to hire a creative department. I'm here because a lot of my clients are pushing me to do Facebook stuff for them, and want to make sure I'm cross my T's, dot my I's.
Perfect.
Scott Nelson with Insurance and Associates. I'm glad to be here.
Welcome, Scott.
I'm Ellen Pyrosh, and like Laura, I'm a massage therapist here since the late 90s. We have a team of 9. We do a lot of mobile tennis tournaments, celebrity cruises, whoever's here that hires us. We also go out just to individual houses, offices, and we have a studio in East Palm Springs at one of the resorts. So I'm here to learn because I'm just tired of having to monitor the person who does our Facebook, and it's not exactly the way I want it, and I'm busy, so I hope to learn some things here.
Cool. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Jan Osborne, and I am brand new to the chamber. This is my first little outing today. But actually, I've lived in the desert since 1962. So I've really seen a lot. I went to the first school in Palm Desert when they made Lincoln School. It was Lincoln Junior High School, and I was the first graduating class out of there, and then I went to Indio High School. But I actually work with a company called the Juice Plus Company in Tower Garden. And what that is it's food in a capsule. It's like the Jetsons. And then we also have Tower Gardens, which those are aeroponic towers that you can grow your own food. And they are awesome.
Welcome.
Good morning, I'm Brian Newman. I'm the owner of Pedigo Electric Bikes in Old Town Quinta. We sell electric bikes, standard bikes, do full service and repair, and we do guided tours, group rides, and rentals. So I have a little bit of corporate support that I kind of draw from in regards to our Facebook support, and I'd like to start doing it myself because they have 70 of us dealers across the United States, and I would imagine that somewhere along that line I'm not being treated as well as I would like to be because they have to siphon it. So my hope is that we can get some more information here today and take advantage of it. And this is Kevin walking in. He's we're gonna open a store in Palm Springs in August, and he'll be our manager in the Palm Springs store.
Fantastic. Welcome. Should we skip him?
Unless you want to talk about yourself. Go for it.
Not really.
Hi, my name is Naomi Mukasa. I'm with Quinta Insurance Solutions. We provide insurance services for both personal and business. I'm here because I wanted to know how exactly we can put ads on Facebook and make it relevant to our target audience.
Cool. You're in the right place.
Good morning, my name is Emily. I work at Shoot Legal. We do estate planning services. And so I didn't know that working for a small law firm as a new associate would mean I get Facebook responsibility.
Welcome. All that law degree now is really going to work.
We covered music and an entertainment attorney. I started my interior design business in 2007. Moved here a few months ago with my husband from Sherman Oaks and established clients here so I can stop flying back and forth to Los Angeles, which is what I'm doing regularly now. And I'm interested in this because I'm looking at all the different modalities of marketing.
Yeah, well, welcome.
Right now, so I'm interested.
We'll bring it way down so it makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning, I'm Jackie with the Desert Valley Builders Association, with the homeowners trade association here in the valley. And I am the membership and community liaison, so I'm in charge of the Facebook audience, if you will, for us.
Great. Welcome. In the back.
Hey everybody, my name is Andrew McCauley from the Digital Traffic Institute. We help we help entrepreneurs and small business owners navigate the online and social media traffic.
Well, thank you all for coming. Now, if you haven't yet, please, before the end of the session, just put your business card there. We're gonna have a drawing for a couple of gifts at the end. My name is Jeff Harrison. I own a company, as Amy mentioned, we're business partners, called Swing Point Media. We've been doing this for a long time, but what we basically, our modality is video. So we do a tremendous amount of video, but we use Facebook advertising, LinkedIn, you name it. We take it from marketing idea or from inception, basically from script to distribution to conversion. So, and if some of those terms don't make sense, that's okay. We're just gonna get a show of hands. How many of you right now are doing Facebook? Just Facebook, right? Good. All right. Who hasn't heard of Facebook? Good. Okay, good. I just always like to ask that question. You never know. How many of you are actually doing Facebook advertising right now? How many of you are happy with your Facebook advertising results? Good. Why are you happy with your Facebook advertising results?
We were turned on from corporate to do some advertising, and they came and produced a video for us.
Okay.
And the amount of views that we got from advertising that video was absolutely ridiculous.
Cool.
It's like 60,000 instead of like 200.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a lot of that, and you guys obviously know better, some of it's organic, some of it's paid, so some people, I guess you have to look at it for X amount of time for it to actually count as like actually somebody caring.
Yeah.
So, but we've got a lot of people that have come into the store and made comments about the videos. So
that's
actually totally worth it.
Okay, good. So it's creating some traffic to your place.
Yeah, significantly.
And I do see, I've lived in the Cove now for 15, 16 years. And I just commented the other day, I was coming from church, I said, man, there are people out on bicycles all the time now in the Cove. Never in the Cove, because that long hill up, people are riding their bikes and they're riding those fat tires or little tires with the electric in there. So today we're going to talk about Facebook advertising, and really it's learning how to create click cash machine. Anybody interested in making it say, hey, I just don't want to get a lot of views? Because if you went to the bank, Ellen, could you say, hey, I got 1,000 views, could you deposit that in my bank account? Probably not going to cash that in, are we? Okay, so we're going to talk about turning that into a machine that says, hey, we take it from just because we placed it out on Facebook to where we say, you know what, Joe, it actually wrote me a check. There's somebody who walked in the store and caused something to happen where there's a transaction. Is that okay with everybody if we do that today? Cool. Now, sometimes what happens is people say, hey, are my customers really on Facebook? Well, there's just under 1.6 billion people on Facebook. And out of that, 152 million live here in the United States. So if you think about it, that's almost half of the entire population. So if you look around, you say, every other person here in the room is on Facebook. And I think there were only, what, 2 or 3 people that didn't raise their hand and said, I'm not on Facebook. So think about that. That's kind of representing the audience out there. Because this is one of the things that we hear many times. They say, well, you know, why would it be on Facebook? I'm an attorney. We have a client who's an attorney, he's an expert witness, said, I don't think my clients are out there on Facebook. I'm like, I think they are. They're out there. So we're going to talk about how to find those people today. They're also, it's one of those things that says, well, you know what? My demographic is an older demographic, so they're probably not on Facebook. That's not true, because 55 to 64 is the fastest growing segment. In fact, it doubled from 2015 to 2016. Okay, so if you're thinking, hey, you know, if they're 55, 60 years old, whatever that is, whether it's planning, estate planning, or whatever that is, trust wills, they're out there and they're looking for things just besides their grandkid pictures. I promise you. Okay. And I promise you, we're going to go to the next slide. So we're going to learn to target specific client groups. Now, I think this is really the neatest thing. When you do, who in here is actually doing their own Facebook stuff? Okay, so when you're dialing in now, you don't have to raise your hand on this one, but have you ever boosted a post? Okay, just leave it at that. That's body on who's that. Okay, so anyway, it's almost like going to Coachella Fest, if you will, and you don't know who, well, you kind of know who's there, but there's a wide range of demographics, and you're just putting the message out there, hoping it will get on somebody. And I'm not picking on the newspaper, and I've checked, and no one here is in the news, in the print media, right? It's almost like putting an ad in the newspaper, and it goes out to 200,000 people. But we don't know out of those 200,000 people, are they your demographic, right? Do they ride bicycles? Do they get outdoors? Do they like to do that kind of stuff? Do they have screens that they need replacing, or do they want to have more air inside? So with this, we can learn to target all types of business. Sometimes people think, well, you know what? It's really not a B2B, it's really B2C, business to business or business to consumer. Okay, all right. What level do you like to work with as far as people? Let's say you're working with people in business. What level of decision maker? I mean, are you coming in at the HR department? Are you coming in CEO? What do you think? What level of client would you like to address, or what would you like to get to?
I'm really not, I'm sorry.
Like as an example, if I'm going out and I want to talk to somebody about their business and creating a video, if you will, I don't want to talk to somebody who can't make a decision. So I might want to say, hey, I want to talk to the owner. I want to talk to the CEO, right? With this, we can actually dial that down. We can target and specifically see that marketplace, right? So now what happens is, unlike if you put a TV ad out there, or a radio ad, or a print ad, where it goes to this large group, we can say, hey, the only people who are going to see it are massage therapists. All right, so we can actually say that. So the ad we create is more likely to appeal to you, and they're the only ones that will see it, right? So there's no waste of content out there. Does that make sense? Okay, yes, that makes sense. Okay. The other thing is we can go by location, right? So as an example, you're in downtown La Quinta, right? Right here in Old Town. Now, how wide of a range is your client? I mean, they always say it's like, you know, go within a mile or 2 mile radius of your business, right? That's where it's from. Okay. So like how much business do you get from La Quinta Resort to the people that are renting bikes? Any idea?
Quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about people who live in Coachella?
On occasion.
Yeah. How about Palm Springs? People come out here from Palm Springs to rent bikes in La Quinta?
Yeah, pretty significant.
Okay.
That's why we're opening a place in Palm Springs.
Okay,
The
so-
demand is high.
All right. Where's the bulk of your business coming from?
Right here.
Right here. So in this case, if the bulk of his business is here, wouldn't he want to target people that are in this area? Right? And that, so we can actually, with targeted marketing, we can actually do that. We can take it down to a zip code, or even a situation I'll show you a little bit where we actually said, you know, how many of you use Google Maps and you drop a pin and we say, hey, we create a radius and we say only people in that area are going to see what we're putting out there. Would that be helpful? Yeah. Okay. The other thing is revenues. We can actually say, hey, you know what? I want to target people who can afford my service. Okay, so I was saying, let's go to yours, which is insurance, right? So maybe you're saying, hey, I would like to put insurance, and I'm just guessing here, automobiles. Do you automobiles or homes? And you say, I only want to insure people who have this type of a home or this type of a car. You can kind of figure that out right there based on the revenues that they create or their income, okay? Their income levels. So as an example, like what is your income level that you would like to work with? If you have this desire to say, hey, I want to talk to people that make this kind of money.
200 and over.
Cool, you can do that. So now the only people that will see your information are people that make that kind of money. Now, somebody brought up how saying, how do they know that? Right? Or is it just me that says, how do they know that?
She just turns to me and goes,
Well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. About 5 years ago, Facebook got involved with Experian. I mean, you know what Experian is? Do you think they know a little bit more about your financial situation?
more than I like.
Yeah, so they actually communicate with one another. So they share some of that data. So they say, well, you know, if we're looking for people who live in a certain neighborhood, they make this kind of money, they have this kind of income level, here they are. And they're also on Facebook, right? Okay, so we can dial that down real tight. The other thing is estimated money in the bank. Wow. How about that? Liquid assets. So as an example, if I'm working with somebody and I say, well, you know what, let's just hypothetically say they have a project and we say we estimate it's going to cost $15,000 to put this together. And we say we only want somebody that has money in the bank over 100,000. Now we know when they go in there and they say, well, I don't know if we have the money. Really? We kind of already know that, right? They can afford us. How cool is that? Have you ever had a problem where somebody says, I'd like to do this, but I just don't have the budget for it? Has that ever happened? Yeah, right. Okay, so we can do all of that. That's kind of, now you're going to be able to do all that. Is anybody interested in that? Is it going to help you? Little biofeedback I'm looking for there. Okay. So I say, let's dive in. I'm going to start out because this is a whole different program of figuring out your ideal client. So I'm just going to assume for a second, you already know your ideal client. Now let me just check in just for a second. Who's your ideal client? Now be very careful.
That's an interesting question because there's such diversity. Northern California mortgage clients are vastly different than Southern California from the standpoint of the income. So we want to attract those people that don't believe they can even afford a house because things are quite affordable down here and there's so many first-time home buyer opportunities and programs. And by the same token, people that are the 55 and over range, rather than writing a check for a house these days, they're starting to conserve their resources. And they're now looking once again at options for financing. They're either reverse mortgage, which a lot of people, we still do a lot of those, but a lot of people are saying, I'm 55, I'm gonna be around for a while, so heck, I'm getting a mortgage and I'm gonna protect my assets. So we're kind of, we're full service.
Okay, so
we hit them all.
So now let's take that for a second. How many of you know what our ideal client looks like? Really? Tell me about it.
My ideal client?
No, her ideal
Oh,
client.
her ideal client.
Did you understand exactly what she's
Oh,
looking
sure,
for?
I was listening.
Really? Tell me, from what she said, can you identify her target market, her ideal target
Well,
client?
yeah, you basically said from 55 and over crowd, but there's also other people available, because you never know. You know, sometimes there are things that are not inside the box, you gotta look outside.
Correct, but that's like this. Your target market is La Quinta, correct? That's the bulk of your business. But you sometimes get something from Coachella and you get from Palm Springs, you say, I'm gonna put another business there. But you're not actively going out beating the bushes in Indio, right? You're saying, hey, here's my target market. So let me ask you a question. Are there any women in here that are not married? That are willing to raise their hand, okay? Okay, so you guys raise your hand over here?
I'm
Anybody?
married.
Okay, so Annie, let's say Annie is an example. We'll get Annie in the conversation. Annie, you're not married, okay? So let's just hypothetically say, I say, well, Annie, you know what kind of guy are you looking for? Okay, and she says, so now, wait a second. Okay, come on. So now we're saying, yeah, take the coffee with you in case you throw things. So as an example now, everybody knows Annie from the chamber? Yes. Okay, so Annie, let me ask you, so what kind of a person are you looking for?
I have a boyfriend.
Okay, well, let's just, oh, she got that on camera. So she's attached, she's not married. Okay, I need somebody to. Who else is not married? Or no attachment? Okay, all right. Well, here's my point. If you were looking for someone, would you say, well, I just want somebody 55 and older, right? And all of a sudden I say, hey, I got this friend who's 82 years old. It's a little slow, right? And he likes being having a companion because sometimes he forgets things. You know what? And sometimes he forgets to shave, and there's that often time where, is that okay? Is that your ideal client? Right, you're looking for somebody very specific, right? So I want you to dial in because now you can do that, okay? So again, that's a whole new class on how to find your ideal target market. So next we need to kind of create the ad. Here we go. Let's go step by step. Here are the ad components, okay? Visual is key. Visual is key. That's why we use visual up here, because if I just stood here and talked, it would be like me handing you, like, how many of you ever gotten an email and it's nothing but this long text and you look at it and you're going, next? Delete, or, oh, I'll get back to it later, never gotten there, right? So visual is important. In fact, eye-catching and relevant. You have about 1 second to catch their attention because we're going through that news feed, right, or that feed. Does it ever catch your attention, a certain picture or a moving video, and it catches your attention and you stop? It may not even be relevant to what you're doing, but it catches your attention. So we want to think about that. We want to have something that is really the key to that. You also want to have some words on your images, okay? Because here's the thing, somebody might share that. They might copy it. Like I'll find somebody's Joe that, let's say you put a picture up that I really like, and I'll save it. But if you put pictures or if you put words on there, identifying where you're from Screen Mobile, that now when I share it, I'm sharing your brand, okay? So you might want to put some kind of catchy words on there. Now, if you use it for an advertising, the written part can only consume about 20% of the ad. Now, when you go to put that on there, you say, well, geez, how to figure 20%? Their editor will help you figure that out. So it's not real complicated, but if you put too much on, yes, ma'am.
When you say put words on the image, you mean literally on top of the image, not the description under the
Correct.
image?
Correct. We want to make it inseparable. Right. Okay. Now, so there's no Gone with the Wind epic stories you're going to put on your photograph. It's real quick and easy, right? Like as an example, I'm going to pick on you again with the bikes, right? So, do you put any words, or would you put any words on your photos that go on those ads? Let's say from corporate, are there any words on there?
My wife's pretty good with putting words on and kind of doing some like memes and stuff like that, where you'll have a perfect photo and then a catchy phrase or something.
We've all seen it, right? That's what it is, because now we stop them visually, because 87% of our brain is capturing the photo. We stop long enough, and now we read that. If you use video, which I'm not opposed to, video is big there, okay? But make sure you put captions. Everybody understand captions? Like when I speak, the caption comes down below, and if you're interested in how to figure that out, we'll share that later, okay? It's probably as critical, if not more critical, than the headline. So that writing that you put on there above and below that is probably more critical. That's like that stop sign. You stop and then you look side to side. Does that make sense? So you're going to stop, you're going to see that written on that image, and then go forward. And then see, hey, is it relevant, right? If I'm thinking, hey, I want to go to a bike ride, I don't have a bike, and I see something that catches my attention, and then I see the words, then I'm going to dig in a little deeper, okay? But if you know what you know now, what we talked about, you already figure out, hey, I'm a bike rider, right? Versus somebody who's not a bike rider. Keep the information feeling good. Now, this is where Facebook, what, Andrew, maybe 2 years ago, they started becoming a little bit harsher on using negativeness, right? Like, take this or die kind of thing. I know it's extreme. But now you want to make it feel good. You don't want to be Danny Downer, right? And say, if you could, you should, you would, and if not, and then here's a picture of a headstone. You don't want to go that route. Keep it positive, okay? Give hope, not despair. So as an example, Elizabeth, she has a product called Go Get Young. So how would you share something that's positive, not negative?
Helping you feel younger longer.
Okay, anybody interested in feeling younger longer? Surprisingly enough, okay, we got one. I was going to say, surprisingly enough, two. Okay, we got some hands. Okay, everybody would like to feel younger. Now, here's the thing. One of our clients, as an example, he does longevity. And here, we'll do this for fun. How many of you would like to, the mortality rate for an average man is 78 years old. How many would you like to, the men, like to live to average mortality rate? Okay, watch the hands, good. How many would you like to live to 120? Not quite as many hands. Okay. Here's the thing we found out, when you think about that, it's almost like this. It's almost like this. It's like, you get into be a massage therapist, you think, everybody would like a massage, right? Shockingly enough, not everyone wants a massage, right? So why would you put your information in front of somebody who has, hey, don't touch me, right? Same thing. We found only 30% of all the people who live on the planet are interested in living beyond normal mortality. But if we're trying to put our message out to everyone, we're wasting our time and effort and money on that, right? So we want to know who these people are. So before you decide on a photo, you want to, here's that ideal client thing again. You want to know your ideal client, right? So as an example, your ideal client now is how old?
The ideal one are now millennials.
Millennials. Okay, good. Male or female?
Female.
Female. Cool. Okay. So now if you were putting a photo up there, would you put a man having a massage?
You know, people at Coachella and having fun and maybe a massage in the background.
Right. So the idea is you would have a female in that picture. Why is that important?
That's what she needs.
Exactly. And I see this all the time. Now here's a specific example. I'm not sure, Brian, if you told me this. I don't think it was, but if it was, this gentleman I know that he was in Detroit a few weeks ago. And in Detroit, predominantly black, okay, right? And so what happens is downtown Detroit, there is a billboard there and it's talking about something, and their demographic on that are all non-black people, Caucasian. Okay, so see how it disconnects? That's a disconnection. That could be something like your headline. You want to make sure your headline connects with that group, right? Use the terminology. Does that make sense? Okay. Are there exceptions? Yes, she said yes. What's the exception? Yes, do you have any of them? If you can't think of it, there's no exceptions for you.
I haven't had coffee.
Okay. Exception? You've had the coffee?
I have coffee.
You have coffee. No, do you have it? Is there an exception where you wouldn't do this? Your ideal client.
Well, there are times when a message gets relayed. So if you know what the second step is, to the first step you want to get to, like you walk in someplace, you can't get to the CEO, but you can talk to the secretary.
Okay, good.
You talk to the secretary, she has influence sometimes on the CEO.
That's exactly right. So as an example, let's say for instance you're targeting who's here? Anybody in the medical? I'm sorry, I should remember that. Okay, like an aging community. Okay, so what happens is we have a client who they provide a product that helps adverse drug reaction. Anybody ever heard of that? It's called ADR. It's where all of a sudden our aging parents, they're taking so many medications that, you're my doctor, you're my doctor, you're my doctor, and you all three give me prescriptions, but you're not really communicating with each other. And so when I take those drugs, I have an adverse drug reaction. 4th leading killer in the United States. Wow. Okay. But here, now, do we run ads to the aging community, or we do it to their kids who are dealing with that? Right? So that might be an exception. We have to understand that, right? And then say, put that out there. So now we put a different picture. Does that make sense? Okay. The pain they're you put a before and after picture up there?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't have to tell you, hey, Jeff, you're overweight. I'm looking at that and saying I'm associating with it, but this is who I want to look like, right? Or maybe a gym membership. Here I am scrawny. Here I am less scrawny. Now I'm ripped now, okay? I'm wearing one of those Superman suits, okay? So there's an example. Anybody have an idea on that? The pain they're dealing with? Like in your field, now that you're doing this and it's estate plan, things like that. I mean, can you see how if they don't do that, can it change their lives?
Yeah, I think especially the cross-generational thing is what really, we see that a lot up here, especially. The people who, have the money and the assets and the resources aren't the ones that are making decisions anymore.
I mean, could you, as an example, could you have 2 pictures, again, side by side? This is it's huge. It works in every industry. Take a picture of maybe a couple setting on, maybe they're at McDonald's having lunch, right? I'm nothing against McDonald's, we're thinking less expensive. Or the same couple or another couple eating at a fine dining restaurant. Have you planned your future accordingly? That's about a $3,000 ad there, if you're interested. Okay, so you can have that. So now it's visual, right? Crap, I don't want that. McDonald's not good for me. I don't want to, even if I supersize it, right? I want to eat in that fine dining. That's suggestive, okay? Showing a solution, we just kind of talked about that. How would you show a solution in your business?
The horse rescue?
Yeah.
A picture of the horse that we get that has been abused, that has scars, and then a picture of him 6 months to a year later where his coat is shiny and he's not tan shy, and there's a little person sitting on him with a helmet on.
Yeah. How cool is that?
It really is amazing. I've got flyers for everybody.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to show that solution. Again, you've got a visual image. How long do you have before they're moving on? Don't be looking away. I'm looking at you.
Are you looking at me?
Yes, I'm looking at you. You have a second. You have 1 second. So that has to capture their attention. And then you'd write something on there. Okay? I don't want to get too deep in this today because a lot of you, maybe this is your first go at Facebook. Okay? Just to realize, hey, you know what? It's always easy in saying, hey, I'm gonna put an ad together, but it's a little harder to click that make it go live button, right? The first time you, who was like the first time you clicked that, was that like, do I do this? Right? It's a little spooky, right? We're gonna take that away today. Now that they're there, what are you gonna do? Because if you fail to lead them, then you're kind of wasting your time and money. It would almost be like, hey, you know what? The ads to get you here led you here. And then we talk about something that's irrelevant, or we don't have a talk at all. Wow, would that be a waste of your time and their money to get you here? Same thing, tell them what you want to do. So in your information, if I see your video, is there, we'll call it a call to action, or CTA. Is there a call to action?
Absolutely.
What is it?
We're basically inviting anybody over for a free test drive. We let them know that if they saw or mentioned the Facebook ad, that they'll get some sort of a discount when they're there.
Cool, there you go. There's a willingness to give you something if you take action, right? So with you, what do you give? Or what lead do you give?
We're not doing ads yet, we're just doing like articles that we're
Okay.
trying to use as, promotional type information for people.
Great. Remind me, because I'm going to show you how you can use it. It's very powerful. Okay, anybody else running ads right now? Oh, I saw your hand go. It was just a scratch. Okay, so when you're doing this, make sure you let them know what you want to do. So it's a call to action. It could be, what do you want them to do next? Well, you want them to learn more. Has anybody ever seen those on there? You see the ad, it's a sponsor ad that says learn more. That's what it could be. Like yours is perfect. Okay, massage. And then next to him is like, oh, I'm a happy guy. Let me rub you the right way. Right? Learn more. Right? Hey, wouldn't you should stop for that? If all of a sudden, I mean, here's an example. I've got a client that I was going to see at 10:30 this morning. He sent me a text this morning. He says, I have to cancel because I have a back spasm. Right? Wouldn't he like to have you rub him the right way? Yeah, it's not. Come on, get your minds out of the gutter. That's not where I'm going. Okay. So you want to find out where you learn more. Okay? Because if not, you know, you're just kind of leaving that out there. We don't know if it worked or not. Remember what I said before? Can you cash views at the bank? Like if you know what, analytics come back from Facebook and said, Joe, you got 1,000 people see your ad today. Ooh, that's great. Nobody moved forward because you didn't put any call to action on there. What's the next step for them to take, right? Come see us. Free test ride, right? Doesn't have to be something monetary, but it associates with what you're doing. Please, 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 I'm gonna throw in a please do not send them to your homepage. We did this for the PGA of America, what was it, maybe a year ago? And we had some people here in the desert, and I won't mention it, but it was Indian Wells Golf Resort. So I just slipped out. Anyway, so what happened is they're paying for advertising and they're sent to their homepage. We counted, there were 59 distractions on that page. What they wanted people to do was to sign up and get a tee time. So instead of sending them to the first page, where do you think they should send them? To the page, to the reservation. That's it. Then after they make their reservation, then let them browse around, right? So if you were sending somebody to your place, what would you want them to come to first?
A contact page.
Contact page. Why?
Or contact us.
Contact us.
Fill out that information and send it to us.
Okay. All right. Good.
That's where we send them.
That's it. Same group here. Joe, where would you send people?
I send them to the store, the online store, so they can start purchasing right away.
Okay. Now, if you're doing this, when you say online store, many products on there?
No, it depends on which client.
Okay.
But it's usually with me as well. I think it varies.
Yeah. As an example, how many of it is anyone ever bought anything on Amazon? Yeah.
Prime.
Okay, you put it both hands. Yeah. You bought Brian?
No, Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay. I thought she bought somebody on Amazon. That opens up a whole new world. Let me ask you something. Have you ever received an email from Amazon after you've done some shopping? Are they giving you random things to look at or something very specific now? And when you click that, does it take you to Amazon the site or Amazon that product?
The product.
Gang, we can learn a lot from this. I used to be in real estate and investing privately, and this is what we always said. We would watch the environment and say, who's the big people that are coming in, the big box stores? Because they've already done the millions of dollars of research. They know it's working. Just copy it. Just come in behind them. They've already created this wave. Let's ride the wave. So when you see somebody out there like Amazon doing this, say, why don't I just copy that?
Yeah.
Just copy it. Don't send them to my homepage. Send them to something very specific. Okay? If you have cold traffic, does anybody know what cold traffic means? No. Physically? It means they've never heard of you before, right? So let's say you're running ads for Screenmobile and you're putting it out there to people that you have had no contact with, right? So what you do is you put an ad out there. That ad, if you will, are going to people that have never seen or heard of you before. That's cold traffic, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to send them to a blog post or a video. Why would we do that? Why would we do that first?
Gives them more info.
Educate them. What else? Introduce them. Okay. What if I were at the Nest? I'm not a Nest. But I saw this young lady here and I said, how would I start up the conversation? Would I immediately say, hey, let's go to my house, homepage? Or what would I do? What would I do?
Hi.
Yeah, okay, I introduce myself, right? I get to know her, I start building a relationship, right? That's what a blog post, right? Or a video can do. You want to get to know them. They want to get to know you. Now, yes, ma'am.
Especially when people are like trying to compare professionals.
Yes, yes. What kind of things?
They can do like an info with us. A lot of times we're doing, they're looking at like things we've written or put up on even the gem or, you know, on our Facebook page or whatever. Just because they want to do a little research before they even go and sit down and talk to you.
Absolutely. You know, something around 67% of the people before they make a buying decision, they already have made that decision because they've already done their research online. So when they walk in, they're more qualified. They're ready to take action. Just think that now we're walking into a virtual store, right? We want to provide them all they can. If they do things online, we want to make sure they have the right information. Now, let me ask you something about this. When you're writing a blog or you're creating a video, who should this be about?
Gotta be about them and their needs.
There are many, many times, and you said you did websites?
I do that too.
Who else does websites? Anybody else? Andrew in the back. Most of the time when you build a website, what do they want to make them all about, Andrew? Yeah, do I really care about that? Right? It's almost like walking in and I say, tell me again now, it's Christine. Hey, Christine, how you doing? Let me tell you a little bit about myself. And I just start rambling, right? And she can't get a word in edgewise. Have I lost you? Yeah. Instead of saying, hi, Christine, my name is Jeff. Why are you here? Really? Like, what would you like to learn? Okay, I mean, so if we showed you how to use Facebook ads, maybe Facebook Live, that would be entertaining for you? How would you use that? Great. And what would that mean at the end for you?
More customers coming in the door.
So who's that for? Me or her? But did we learn a little something? Yeah, but it's really more about her, isn't it? So that's what we want to do, is we want to provide information about them. Find out what their pain points are and then write those articles. So as an example, because you're doing this, what are your clients' pain points?
I mean, there's a lot of different.
Just give me your
reasons
top
why
one.
people- I would say a big one is to avoid probate.
Avoid probate. Good. So wouldn't you maybe title that or something along that line and then write about all the challenges of probate? Remember, I said don't make it negative, but when you can draw them to a Facebook ad, or excuse me, to a post from your Facebook ad, then you can dive into that. Now, do you leave them hanging so they're crying at the end, or do you give them a solution? And what's your call to action at the end?
That it can be easily avoided if you have proper planning.
Okay. Now, at that point, what do you do now? Is that a call to action, or is that just say, I agree with you, it could be trouble?
Oh, no, then we would schedule an appointment for them to come and meet with us.
Yeah. Or hey, if you'd like to know more and find out where you are, click and download this free chart and then send it back to us, right? And you can almost do like a little analysis, right? And then send it back in. As soon as they do that, guys, we'd send it to them in an email and then we gather their email address. Now, if we don't do that, we do something called retargeting. Is everybody familiar with retargeting? Right? Have you ever in that dating scene, the first time it didn't work, and maybe I saw you at the Nest and you just kind of blew me off, even though you saw how well I danced, right? But then I see you someplace else. I'm like, oh my gosh, I knew you were familiar. She goes to my church. Now I'm embarrassed because no, I kept it clean. So that's retargeting. I saw her in church and now I went back and said, hey, we met briefly at the Nest. I didn't realize you went to my church, right? That's kind of like retargeting, but here's how it works. Let's say, for instance, I went to your ad, I took no action. But because I watched your video, you put a little pixel, almost like a tracking pixel. I think I'm gonna start calling it a stalking pixel, okay? Because now what happens if I take no action and now I go back onto Facebook, now you're targeting me. Am I a cold prospect or now a warm prospect? Why? Boy, he's already warmed me up. I watched his video. I kind of know more about you. I know where you're located. Hey, these guys are nice guys, right? They've got the bikes I'm looking for, but I don't take action right now. Now, when I go back out there, you might have another ad just for people like me that says, download this free certificate for 15% off your next ride when you rent a bike with someone else at full charge. Great. See, now I'm warmed up. Now I can ask for the sale. Does that make sense? So think about that when you're doing it. Now, time to volunteer, right? Close them on that. Does that make sense? Okay. You should have a funnel that helps you sell. Anybody use selling funnels to sell your product? You do? Tell me about that. How do you use it? What's that?
You open the door, you hold the door, and then you close the door.
Okay. All right. Anybody use sales funnels?
To some online marketing that I do, I offer a lead magnet, which is something I give away for free. and pepper it with a lot of information that will solve the solution for what they're looking for. And then they want to learn more, I send them to the next step, and the next step is something that I'm perhaps selling as opposed to giving away for free. And building that trust, and I'm the expert, and I'm the one you need to come to, and so on and so on and so on.
That's it. So there's a diverse age group in here, but some of you might remember this. My parents told me about it. Columbo. You ever see Columbo? Did Columbo always leave the room entirely, or did he always stop and come back? They're like, you know, just one more thing. That could be it with me. But I was thinking, can I buy you a drink? Can I pull your car up? Whatever, right? That's that next thing. All this can be automated, right? So as an example with yours, it could be, hey, you sent them to your blog post, right? You capture, let's say you capture your email address. Now they receive something from you talking about a free consultation, or maybe you're going to do a presentation, something like this, and you're inviting those people in, right? All of this can be automated. So right down to the thank you letter, and it sets up one time. So now let's say when you run those massage ads, it goes right into this funnel, and now when the phone rings or your email shows up, these are people that said, yes, I'm ready. You don't have to track them down anymore. They're saying, I want to give you my business. I want to do business with you. Does that make sense? Isn't that the way it works for you when somebody comes through that process? Because I bet you use sales funnels in a way, do you not?
I haven't even heard of it termed as a funnel.
Really?
Yeah.
Funnel, yeah. This is attracting that cold client, if you will, cold traffic, making them warm, making them feel good, educating them, and saying, hey, I think you can answer my problems, solve my problems, then go for the appointment, go for the sale. Amazon, again, is phenomenal at this. They'll send stuff all the time. It changes your life, right? So you could write articles about that. You could have testimonies of people, right? I mean, there's some people that do it in about over 7 days. Sometimes it's over 28 days that they're dripping this content out. We have these funnels set up where it's actually already set up over a 2-year period from they become clients to now we just follow up with them for 2 years. We're great friends. I mean, never met these people, but they know me really, really well. So if I do offer them something in the future, they're likely to say yes because now they're warm clients, not cold. All stemming from Facebook ads. So now that they're there, we talked about that series of educational pieces. So I want you to think for just a second, take just a moment and write down 2 things that you would educate, and just, you don't have to write the whole thing out, just a headline, okay? Of what 2 things you would give for educational pieces for your ideal client, okay? Geez, yours is easy, isn't it? I mean, yours is easy. 2 educational pieces for your ideal client, piece of cake. Yours, same thing. Yours is gonna be tough. No, I'm just kidding. What is your business?
Marketing.
Marketing, good. Okay, so what would be the 2 pieces you would help them with in marketing?
Depending on the client, depending on their.
We're talking about our ideal client.
Oh, branding, image.
Okay, all right. Making the move easy, right? Transitioning, okay? Boy, yours should be pretty easy with the legal process, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the human resource, just the needs of their employees that have legal coverage. Yeah. At affordable rate.
Exactly. Okay. It's delivering value, right? There's a saying that says, hey, we'll make a decision when we what? There's 3 words. Know, like, and trust you, right? We met at the Nest. She didn't even know me. How could she like me or trust me, right? But now after I get her car up there and I've actually vacuumed it out in front because I carry a little dust buster with me, you know, she says, hey, I kind of like this guy. I don't know if I can trust him yet. Now she sees me in church. You think she knows, likes, and trusts me a little bit more? You bet. So now say, hey, would you like to go to a movie? Matinee. I don't do night movies. Matinee. Hey, I'll do that. All right? So we've warmed up the whole process. As I say, we're building trust. We're building that relationship. I want you to think about this. If you'll think about most of us, not all of us, when we use Facebook advertising, it's about building that relationship. It's that first handshake. It's that first entree into, I want to get to know you more. Okay. Now, it's not always true if you already have a market, right? If you already know your ideal client and they're already a list in there, you can already say, hey, I'm going to go right for this sale because you already know, like, and trust me. Okay. If you do that too soon, your numbers are going to be brutal. So here's an example of a client we have. Speaking of at the church. So here's a situation. Now look what this says. Now, we violated one of our rules. Did we put any writing on there? Okay. Does it need a lot of writing on there? No. Does that catch your attention? There are those exceptions, right? How to change your mood in 60 seconds. Anybody have a day where you're just going, if I could just change my mood in 60 seconds, things would be better? Cool. In 60 seconds, start your day on a positive note with a new message from Dr. Joe. Every day does an inspirational message. We drive them back to that inspirational message. Okay. So there's a picture. It's kind of cool, kid. You have to stop to see what it's all about. Might have 200 to 300. So now they have 1,000 potential new people who may take action virtually because they do live streaming, or they may actually come to their center. Believe it or not, that's a business. That tithing makes that whole thing work, right? We know that, don't we, at church? See, already she's cutting, trust me. All right. Analytics that tell us what happens. Okay. And let's say, for instance, we get right here and see how it drops off a little bit. We say, yeah, maybe that's not so important anymore. Sometimes you can put an ad up there that was very, very effective, and you never have to, I would say never, for months. I mean, you see people on Facebook. Have you ever seen any ads on Facebook? They seem to, like, when are they going to change that? When it stops working. But until then, run that thing, right? So as we said, we can be very specific in our market. We can target gender, male or female, okay? But wait a minute, anything besides male or female? Just check. Annie? No? Okay. That's what I forgot, she's dating. Okay. Age, right? You can target that age. So you don't have to worry about, say, you know, my millennials, they're my target. I'm not looking for 55 to 64, right? Industry, right? If you look at your ideal clients you have now, it'll tell you the industry they came from or industries they came from, and then you target those people. Look at the history. Their likes and dislikes. We haven't talked about that so much, but let me ask you, how many of you still, let's say you read a magazine. What's your favorite magazine you read? Yes, I knew I liked him. Okay. Joe, how about you? Magazine?
You know, I don't. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
It's a little bummer.
Anybody, I should say, anybody here read magazines nowadays? Okay. All right, good. Favorite magazine? Sports Illustrated. Cool. So now what we could do is say, if let's say you're my ideal target set, I could also say, I'm looking for people who like Sports Illustrated, but they don't like Golf Digest, right? I can do that. You can do that. You can tell them that. So that, saying, as an example, let's say, for instance, in the golf industry, we say, you know, I need more golfers. Well, I want people that'll play my golf course, but they don't like playing at PGA West. We can do that because they'll know that stuff on Facebook. They know more about us than our parents do or did, right? So we can do likes and dislikes. Again, we talked about this before. They're income levels, right? If I'm selling something at average cost, the average ticket cost is $1,000, then I want to make sure to get in front of people that can afford my product. Like, what's an average bike rental?
$15 per month.
Man, that's cheap. But that's good. I could do that. Even though I have a bike in the garage, why not use his? It's tuned up and ready to go, right? Okay. Minimum, is there a minimum on that? Liking it even better. Their net worth, right? Because do you want to target people with a high net worth or low net worth?
Well, we're kind of different. I mean, we're really open to everything, but I guess like the ideal client would have more money.
That's probably a longer term, more lucrative client. I'm not trying to get, hey, it's just about the money, but you can work just as hard, you know, for somebody working and they have a $1,000 net worth or $1 million and above net worth. You can dial that in. The location and zip code. Remember I talked about you can drop a pin, or you can say, hey, I'm only talking to people that are in 92253. That's all the people that will see it are in that zip code. Or you can take it to the point and say, you know what? You're going to be at Stagecoach this week. right? And you're actually going to have something at Stagecoach. Why not drop a pin right in the middle of the polo grounds and say anybody in that area will see my Facebook ad? It's called geofencing. So if I step outside the polo ground, I wouldn't see your ad. As soon as I get in there, oh man, I'm tired of sitting in hard concrete. Oh my God, here's a guy who does massages. Oh, here she is right there. It'll just guide me to you. Does that make sense? So you can do those kind of things, right? Is this making sense? You guys like this?
Yes.
Okay. Because this is not my best stuff, I promise you. Okay, so let's talk about gender. Let's talk about gender. Here's the same ad that we did before. It says there's 802 female and 225 male. Who would be our best client to get in front of there? Male or female?
Female.
Female, okay. Are they attracted to children who have their hands in the air holding the sun up? You bet they are. Almost a 4-to-1 ratio. Okay, so now if we were going to retarget those people, put another ad in front of them, would it be more likely male or female that we'd want to put in front of them? Female, right? Some kind of, positive awakening experience and invite us. That's okay.
When you say retarget, right? Is there a way though to actually touch the people in a blanket that already liked something you did? Or do you have to generically go out and hope you hone back in on that group?
Well, in a sense, you are doing that. It's almost like going to a tool booth and they have a video camera of your license plate. They know everybody who went through there. So if they wanted to target those people in that hour, they could. Unless you ask for their email, unless you give them something, as my friend in the back, Andrew, would say, unless you give them an ethical bribe to give them your name and email address, then it's virtually impossible then to target that group only. But literally, when you retarget them, if they've taken action on your ad and they've gone to a blog post or whatever, now you literally are targeting them and only them.
So if I had a post and half the room liked it, and I wanted to come back and just talk to that half of the room that already liked my post, but in a blanket, so that I'm not wasting time on individuals, is that not possible?
Oh,
Do
totally.
I have to go back out and say, well, women somewhere around this age?
No. Like these 802 people here, or let's say the 1,044 people who came to the website, 802 of them are women. We know their URL. We know where they came from. We don't know their name. We don't know their email address. But we could put something back out in front of it, and only those 802 people would see it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. That's
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
How do you go about targeting those even?
Yeah, it's another big thing, but we can go back and let's go back to this for a second. We can go back and we can target them by their gender, their age, their industry. We know that. And what happens is we put a little marker on them. Like, I don't know if most of you, how many of you I shook your hands when you came in? Come on. I put a retargeting pixel on you. I'll know the rest of your stuff all day long. I'll know exactly where you're going, right? So when you go to Costco and you pull out some of that detergent, my face is going to be there, right? So that's kind of a retargeting pixel. She's laughing like it's not going to happen. You're going to be arranging books over there and you go, oh my God, there's that guy's face again. Scary, okay? So that's a retargeting pixel. So you can do that. And then what happens is, here's another cool thing. Let's say you have, and this isn't on the list, this is a little bonus, you want to write this down. How many of you already have a client list, email client list? Okay, how about if you took that client list, now those clients, I'm talking about people who have paid you money for your products or services, right? Or they're volunteers. You can load that up into Facebook and say, you know what, I want to create a like audience of these people. And Facebook for us, for no charge, will go out and say, you know what, yes, yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, 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 no, no, no. In other words, the yeses, they're people just like people who have already taken action with your product. They're people that said, hey, yes, I like to ride bikes, right? That's why a database is so important. If everyone's coming into your place and you're not grabbing their database, their email address, shame on you, because it's so useful, because now I can load that into Facebook and say, I'm only looking for people that have already voted for me and they're using my product, and I'm loading it up there and saying, Facebook, go find more people like that within this demographic as far as zip code. And they'll say, you know what, there's 273 people inside La Quinta that are just like the people that ride bikes for you, and now you can target those people. Cool or cool? Yeah.
So and what does it do with the people that you've uploaded?
You can send out information, but they're already your clients, right?
Right.
It's just saying, hey, now we talked about that ideal client, they're not just 55 and older, right? They may be now 55 to 58, and they have this kind of income. They have this kind of likes and dislikes. It's going to put all that stuff in there, right?
So you're saying Facebook identifies that email address, it knows based on wherever it gets its information, and it tries to find people just like what it knows about that email address?
Correct. And it may be some of those people that said, hey, you know what? She's never been on Facebook. I can't write that. I can't get that stuff, right? But out of all the names on there, let's say you have 200 names. Doesn't sound like a lot of names, which with 200 names on there, but out of those 200 names, they find another 1,000 that could be your potential clients, just like the ones you have. That gets me excited just talking about it. Yes, sir.
Your client list, when you upload it, will Facebook use it for other?
It's yours. No.
They won't take that and say to a competitor, hey, these guys are.
No, they won't.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is what Amazon does.
Excuse me?
I think Amazon does do that, right?
Yeah, Amazon.
We do a bunch of stuff on Amazon. So far we haven't seen that happening. So they don't target our clients. Yeah, they're really protective about us not getting those emails. Like if we sell product, we have another client we do a lot of business on Amazon with. And we have to come in backwards. In other words, we send out an automated thank you and a survey, and now we can gather information. But otherwise, boy, they don't want you dealing directly with them. But Facebook will not take that. Yeah, there's an invasion of your privacy there. So does that make sense? Does that answer that question? Okay. So now we did the gender, we did the age. So now let's dial it down even deeper. So we got a female, right? And now we say, do we want to target 18 to 20-year-olds? There were 36 out of 1,000, 24, 42 that did something. Do we want to target those people? No. How about, oh, wait a minute, a little better, 25 to 34, 39 people. Not really. 68 or 35 to 44. No. That's the Indio, that's the Coachella, that's the, Desert Hot Springs. I'm not saying I don't get business from there. It's just not my ideal business. It's that frequent because these are okay, but from there on down, 45 to 65, there's now 191, 411, and 279. The bulk of those people are in that 45 to 65 range. So now when we start creating ads for that, we're looking for females between 45 and 64. Does that make sense? Now we're a little tighter. We may not even put anything out there for men because, okay, I'm going to try to be careful with this. When my wife sees something exciting, I forgot to tell you I'm married. When my wife sees something that, there went that trust right up there. But I did tell her. Okay, so when she sees something that's kind of cool, guess who gets to go? Even if I'm kicking and screaming, because it was a great idea. So chances are, if we targeted only females between 45 and 65, and they like what we saw, the chances are they're not coming alone. They're bringing their husbands, right? So that's what you can do. That's where you can use that exception, right? They're the influencers. And if you're not targeting women, gang, I don't care if you're male boxing, women will make it happen. And I say that with total respect. We see it in every industry. Absolutely. So now we can go to address. Here's something we did. We have a golf client, and what we did is we ran an ad for them out at Trilogy. Everybody know where the Trilogy property is out there? So we dropped the pin in Trilogy and said, hey, within 1 mile radius, we only talk to those people. Okay, so we're not wasting any time or money or effort. And we said, hey, we spent $20, we reached 304 people, and 23 people took action. If those 23 people, for every one that showed up, and let's say we only convert 50% of those people, because they already know, like, and trust us. 50% of those people, that's 12 people. What if they all spend $1,000? Was that worth that $20 you put in there? How about $500? How about $100? Right? But now when we know people are showing up, they already have seen us. It's not a surprise. They already kind of know us, right? So that's how we can do the address. So the questions, did you guys like this? Any questions haven't covered yet? Okay, it's a deep subject. I mean, we've gone very, very high level. Andrew told me, he said, keep it simple, Jeff, because you can go really deep with all kinds of analytics. Okay, but is Facebook advertising for you? Probably not, unless you want instant traffic. Unless you want instant traffic, or you want to know and work with specific targeted audiences, or you want to be control of your ad spend. You want to take a look. Stop there for just a second. How many of you have ever done print advertising? newspaper, okay, right? So if you run an ad in the newspaper, roughly, if it's a, what size ad? Big ad, half page, quarter page?
Quarter page in the gym is a deal, it's $500.
Deal, $500.
Compared
Okay.
to the Desert Sun.
What's the Desert Sun?
I haven't checked lately, but I know it's substantially more.
Cool, so it's $500, right? Now, let me ask you something. Is that getting in front of your ideal client, or is it just going out in general? It's going out to all 28,000 homes in La Quinta, right? Okay, and do you only pay for that after somebody actually sees your ad in the gym, or you pay for it before? Yeah, she's not in here. Okay, right? So it's afterwards, right? Anybody else do that? Anybody, how about radio advertising? Anybody do radio advertising? Oh, you did the newspaper?
Actually, it's a golf magazine,
Yes.
and I don't know yet because it just came out.
Okay.
It's distributed to targeted communities, but I figured I had to start somewhere.
Did you
I
pay
wasn't
for it
in
in?
the seminar yet.
Yeah. Did you pay for it up front, or did you have?
Oh, yes.
I hate that.
Oh, absolutely.
How about-
It's not results-based or anything else. It's
Yeah.
replacement.
Elizabeth, with one of your clients we both know well, did they have to pay for the TV spot before it ran for the 20 weeks, or they didn't say, it didn't work, I'm not going to pay you?
No, before.
Before. Here's the coolest thing. With control of your ad spend, you can say, you know what, I only spend, now, $500, right? That was a deal. Everybody realized that was a deal, right? 20,000 people. What if I only said, hey, you know what, I only want to spend $5 a day? Real quickly, I know it's early, but you said you had some coffee. How many days of advertising would you get from that? Come on. How many?
Just one day.
One day. $500. You said, hey, that's my advertising budget, $500. But you're saying I'm only going to spend $5 a day. How many days? 100 days. How long are you in the gym for? 1 month, 30 days. So you can triple. Now, here's the other thing. What if you get out there and maybe only 20 people decide to actually click on your ad? And let's say that ad only, the cost per click was only a dime. How much have you spent? 20 times a dime? $2. Did you pay for it before they clicked or after they clicked? Cool, I like that. So you're totally in control of your ad spend. You can spend as little as $1 a day. How many of you can afford? Now, if you can't afford this, I should see 100% participation. If you cannot afford $1 a day on your business and marketing, you should not be in business. Go get a 1099, right? Or excuse me, a W-2, right? No offense. So who can afford to spend $1 a day on your marketing? 100% participation. Got a few people over there not raising their hand. It's a big dollar, okay? Could you borrow $1 from your friend next to you? Yes, he didn't raise his hand, okay? So if you spent $30 a day, or excuse me, $30 a month, and you found targeted advertising, instant traffic, $15. So as an example, let's say it cost me 20 cents. Let's say I had to go through, I had to get 50 people to see that, right? So 50 times 20, how much is that? 10 bucks? $10. So in 2 days, you got somebody to spend $15. Are you ahead? You put in 10, you get 15 back. Who would play that game? You give me 10, I instantly give you $15 back. Would you play? See, now we're starting. I can ask her, she's a friend now, right? Now, what would you do? What would you do? If that's working, what would you do?
Keep doing it.
Scale it up, right? Put in 100, I'll give you 150 back, right? And get better at it. That's what you do. You'd scale it up, but you start out with $1 a day, build some revenue, and then say, let's double that. Let's go $2 a day, and let's make $30 a day, right? You had a question?
Yeah, so the amount that you are spending per day, like you're saying $1, that equals a reach of X number of people, and then it's exponentially more based on the size of the audience that you want to reach?
Yes, yes. So as an example, here's an example. It was very expensive. It was very expensive for us to get in front of that 18 to 24-year-olds. It cost us 24 cents a click. Okay. As we got into our ideal range, it now is 15, 13, 13.
I'm sorry,
I know-
it's not the reach.
I know you can't say that's what I'm saying. So it says, hey, my average cost per click, when they click that ad, my average cost was only 14 cents for potentially finding my ideal client I put this in front of that could turn into somebody who's going to rent a bike, who wants a massage, who's going to have a website built, right? Who's going to need your marketing.
And we can see that before deciding on, okay.
Yes, of course you can. Well, you'll have you'll see this as it comes out. This is a live event. So you can check that as it's going. You put your ad out now. I said instant traffic. You can put your ad out. When Amy does all of our Facebook advertising, Amy, when you put an ad out, how soon, once it's approved, do you start seeing activity?
Within an hour, and usually by the evening, I can say it's working or it's not, and I cancel it. Keep it going.
Yeah, here's the other thing. When you put an ad in the print and you put that ad out there, you're going, God, I didn't get anything. Let me change that. That wasn't exactly what, sorry, you're stuck. Facebook, you can change it in a heartbeat. You can adjust it, you can change the word, change the picture because it didn't work. You can do what we call a split test. You can put, hey, a guy in there, a girl in there, let's see which one gets better. And then have them both run at the same time and say, well, gosh, the lady's doing so much better. Let's cancel the guy and let's double down on the lady, right? Does that make sense? You're in total control of this stuff, okay? So instant traffic, specific target audience, control of your ad spending. You don't have to start at $1. You can start at $5, $10, whatever it is, depending on how much is a client worth to you. What does it take before you say, hey, do I have to get 100 people to click on my ad before I turn into one client? Well, if one client's worth $1,000, are you playing that game? Man, I'm in both feet, over my head. My hair's wet. You can, like I said, we can change the ads with a click. How long does it take to update an ad? When you update an ad and you change a picture, how long before that goes live? It just went live. Instantly. Instantly. You don't have to wait till next month, right? Or geez, we've already recorded those station ads on the radio station. It'll be another 2 weeks before we change that. Or even if it was tomorrow, you lost all that traffic, 24 hours, right? Here, it's instant. As we said, we can split test it. We can say, hey, we're going to put, we've already decided 44 to 65 women, but we're going to put this ad in front of them and we're going to put this ad in front of them. Let's see which one performs better. Not only are they clicking, but are they clicking through? And then we say, this one's doing better. We're taking that out. We're doubling down on this one. And this is the one we're going to ride for a while. Does that make sense? Now you're in total control. Are you liking this at all? Okay. Your goal should be minimum. If I put $1 in, I want $3 to $4 out. And as we said, and then scale up. Again, would you play that game, Joe? If you said, hey, here's $1, Jeff, and said, here's $4 all day. Anybody not willing to do that game? Elizabeth, you play a game? $1 in, $4 back? Yeah, absolutely. Puts a smile on her face. How about you? $1 in, $4 out? Cool. Okay. So what do you do now? Take what you've learned and go it alone. Right? Take it what you've learned and go it alone. Okay? You can go to YouTube. That is a massive resource of information, and watch those videos and learn how to do it yourself. A little DIY. Do it yourself. Okay? Or you can find experts who already do this every day for multiple industries, right? You're doing it, he's doing it in the back, Amy's an expert, okay? You can hire them to teach you or your staff how to do this and go really deep, right? And say, now we've hired somebody to do this. So you can still run your business. So you can do what you're good at, is massaging, rubbing people the right way, not the wrong way, okay? Or they can do it for you. They can hire somebody like Joe and say, Joe, listen, I want this to happen. Can you take it and run with it? And let me do my thing. Absolutely. Okay. If you'd like to know more about how you can do this and we can help you, then please see us afterwards. You can see Andrew or Amy or myself, and we can talk. We call it a discovery meeting. You can ask specific questions that maybe have come up, and we're more than happy to answer that for you. This is our call to action. This is our learn more button. Do you guys enjoy this?
Sure.
Give us a hand. Thank you very much.